Welcome, friends, to Tanked Up, the podcast all about video games and beer. I'm one of your hosts, Ben. It's episode 373, and I'm here with Lucy.
Oh.
Hey, and Adel.
Hey!
Hello, both. Should we launch into some beers? I know we're all very, very thirsty. Lucy, you're nodding away. What beer have you got this evening?
I have got a beer from my stash from Crossover Blendery.
Nice.
Who are down in Hertfordshire. It's called Honey Isle. It is... Well, all their beers are like mixed fermentation beers, but it's 5.5%. I'll read it. It's a golden ale with honey berries, a blend of 20-month and 30-month-old golden ales, spontaneously fermented and aged in neutral French oak barrels, re-fermented on honey berries from Dundee, Scotland.
Yes.
Bottle conditioned, unfiltered, and unpasteurized. Brew season 2019 to 2020 and 2020 to 2021. Fruit season was 2021. Yeah. Golden ale with honey berries.
Amazing. Nice.
Don't think I've ever had a honey berry. But...
No. I didn't even know what that was.
Yeah, they find some weird fruits that nobody's ever heard of, where it's like just one farmer in the whole of the UK. Like grows.
You're on the internet.
I understand, but the TV's not working.
Right, let me make it. let me make a note. Cut podcast audio, not video, because obviously it's more fun to see Kim appear. I've got to go and fix the TV because it's shit.
Yeah, don't get
No.
Adel,
Oh, that's great.
Adel. Rather than me cutting all of this because I haven't got the time to do all of that sort of shit. Why don't you tell us about your beer, and I'll run away very quickly for a moment.
Sure. I have the limited edition Fourpure Bermondsey London Haze. Good lord. Let me try that again. Not that Ben's going to edit this, as he just said. Limited edition Fourpure London Haze Fruity Hazy Pale Ale, 5.3%. Fruity Haze for hazy days. Best enjoyed in the city, the sun retreating beyond the concrete horizon. This isn't London fog, it's London haze. Smooth, tropical, citrusy, hazy, and delicious. Just craft beer. Fourpure simple. It has 5.3%. And it's in a 330 ml can, and it has barley, wheat, oats, hops, and yeast. I told you, I'm like just frazzled today. I was in London for a couple days. That's why I thought I'd have London beer.
It's been a while since I've seen Fourpure.
Yeah, right? When you said Dundee, Scotland, I had to laugh because we were in an antique store and talking to the gentleman, and he was like, "Oh, whereabouts you from?" And we're like, "Oh, well, Canada, but we live in Durham." And he's like, "Oh, that's neat. How do you like living in Scotland?" And it was like, "Oh God, this is so like it was an antique store in a nicer part of London, and it's like, of course, this is such a southern England thing to do. Not know that Durham's in England and the northeast."
I mean, I've not taught geography in this country. And they think anything above the wall, which is probably like just north of like Kent, it's Scotland.
Do you mean Hadrian's Wall?
Yes.
Because that's
they probably think
us.
that's it. I know, but they probably think the wall is like Stonehenge.
I think the problem is they think all of it is like 300 miles below where it is.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Anything, yes, southerners, anything that's like just a little bit up the M1 is the north. So that doesn't really surprise me.
It was pretty funny. It was like, and of course we're just like, "Oh, it's great. What do you say?"
Yeah, it's like when I just read the flavor text on the back of that beer, and it says Dundee, Scotland. And I was just going to say Dundee, but I was thinking, international listeners may not know where Dundee is, but that may also apply to
national
Domestic.
domestic ones. That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the idea that Durham's in Scotland, according to
Mm.
a man who travels around the country buying antiques, supposedly.
Mm.
Like,
Well.
a bit rubbish. I
What
suppose
did you
kind of
What did you
pour on this.
respond to that though? What did
We
you-
just kind of were like, "Oh, it's great," and
Yeah,
pretended
yeah.
we didn't hear the "How do you like things in Scotland?" versus "How do you like life in Durham?"
Hey, it may as well be Scotland when you're living down south. Just foreign. It may as well just be China or something.
Mm,
Those southerners, very
I
insulated
guess.
bunch.
Yeah,
Mm.
sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad I've come back in at this point. I absolutely zero understanding about what's going on.
I tried to re-say it in context clues.
We're just being mean to
fair.
southerners.
Okay.
It's
Yeah,
basically
Southerners who
people
should
from
know better.
London.
Shall I pour my beer? Have you guys chatted about
Yeah,
your
please
beers
do.
much? Or,
What is it? Before you pour it, tell us what it is.
I'm going to drink a collaboration Bristol beer. It's Viper and True and Left Handed Giant. It's called Summer Together. It's a 5.5% pale ale. If you can see that.
Oh, that's a nice can.
Oh, that's a gorgeous can.
Hanging out together.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of flavour text. We teamed up with the local brewing legends and our dear friends at Left Handed Giant for the next instalment of our annual Sunshine Sprinkled collaboration Summer Together. In this soft, hazy pale ale, hopped generously with Citra, Hallertau Blanc and Nelson Sauvin, you can expect notes of white wine, grape and citrus, balanced with a satisfying touch of bitterness. Beer that's just made for sunny afternoons with pals. Okay.
Nice.
I'm going to drink it in my Viper and True branded beer festival glass as well.
I left those at
The train station.
no at Malpass's.
Yeah.
And then so we had 4. And Alex has already broken one of them.
Oh no, has he?
He's like, "Oh, I'm really sorry. How much were they? I can replace it." I'm like, "It was the festival swag." He's like, "Oh," I'm like, "It's okay. We have 4. Had 4."
Yeah, we have 3 now, but we had 4. It's fine.
Yeah.
Do we
Just say he broke one of Emily's. It's fine.
Yeah. Should we loop back round so we can talk about the beers for a moment? Lucy, when you jump back in, I've seen you supping away.
Yeah, it's very red.
Oh yeah.
So I'm guessing honeyberries are red. Yeah, it's quite tart. Gosh, when did I buy this? Or at least when was it bottled? Because they release monthly beers, Crossover Blendery, that I used to buy when I had money. And when shipping didn't cost an arm and a leg.
When the world wasn't on fire. I mean, it has been for a while, to be fair. So it's...
Yeah, I could probably look on their website when it was brewed. Or bottled, rather. Yeah, it's really, really, I'd say sharp. It's got a nice sweetness to it from whatever honeyberries taste like. Guess slightly like honey, but it is still quite. I'd say sharp. I wouldn't say overly sour, but it's got a little zing to it that's like quite in your face.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice, but if you're, a bit averse to sours, it'd probably be a bit too much. But
Right.
I think it's really nice. It's got like a nice vinous quality, and the oakiness. It was it French oak barrels?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely getting that on the taste, like quite a nice layer of depth and bit of earthiness, a bit of vinous quality, and that oakiness as well. So that's made it a bit nicer as well.
Nice.
Just feeling it on like the end of the taste. It's quite subtle at first, but then as the aftertaste just lingers, it's just like, ooh, it's a bit more noticeable. It's very nice. It's a really nice beer. I love their beers.
Good.
I don't think I've had a bad one from them. And I think like most of last year's I would have bought, so this year, I haven't bought nearly as many. I think
Mhm.
this one might have been part of a bruiser box.
Okay.
Because they do, I think they do like Magnum sizes now and then, but like 750 ml bottles. This is 375. So
Does the
Um,
the bruiser box normally
Mhm.
picks a specific brewery? Is that right? And you kind of get a
Yeah.
box from a brewery and like whatever how many beers.
Yeah,
Did you have
exactly
that
that.
with Crossover, or when it's delving more into those kinds of beers, do they try and spread it around a few sort of breweries? They're like, cool, it's this very specific kind of sours that we're doing this week instead.
Well, you can pick, as you say, you pick the specific brewery. So, what Crossover would have done, I think, when I got it, I'm pretty sure this is from that box, but
Mm.
if it's not, apologies. But they'll put in like because they sell out of the older stock and stuff like that. Like, so it would have been the last 3 months worth of bottles or something like
Mhm.
that. It wouldn't have been sample this. Some of the bruiser boxes are like, here's a showcase box, which is just mainline cans or whatever. So like Day would be like Steady Rolling Man and
Sure.
stuff like that. Some of the bruiser boxes, depending on the brewery, they do like more seasonal ones and ones that are like recent-ish at least. So yeah, I think this is probably bottled in the last year. Let me double check.
Cool.
Honey
You,
Isle
you have a look. See when that's
Crossover
come through.
Blendery.
Adel, we'll jump on to your beer, and we can delve
Yeah.
back into when Lucy's found that.
Mhm.
For those of us
So-
who kind of might have had to have disappeared very slightly, what
I was
was
going
the
to
beer?
say, so just as a reminder, it's a Fourpure London Haze Fruity Hazy Pale Ale. It's supposed to be smooth, tropical, citrusy, hazy, and delicious. It poured a bit heady, but it's all gone now. It's really nice and hazy. Almost looks like a juice with pulp in it from my angle. It's a little more golden in person than maybe over there, sort of golden orange. Versus I think on the camera it kind of looks dull.
Yeah, it's got a bit of an orange hint to it, but it's yeah.
You can get that citrus right off the top, tropical and citrus on the nose. I think more passion fruit and maybe like some zest from the citrus.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. That's got some malts to it too at the end. It's lovely bitter tone all throughout, and you're getting that tropical haze all the way through. And actually, I think that zesty, the citrus is mostly kind of zesty. It's got a bit of a peak of it tart just in the middle. That helps settle that haze. But again, really nice and bitter. While having this tropical overtone.
Mm-hmm.
I would say a little more muddled in the tropical. It's like just generic tropical in the way that it was kind of very clearly passion fruity on the nose. Just like, oh yeah, this is fruity. Or like fruit. And not in a bad way, but like like a natural fruit gums fruit.
Yep. Yeah.
It kind of is like, this is fruit. That again with this like bit of a multi backbone and sort of rounded out, and then the amount of low key bitterness that's like carrying through is exactly what I want out of something like this.
Nice.
So it's not too sweet, right? The fruity, it's an IPA or a pale ale, whatever. It's a pale ale. It's hazy. It's got character, but it's still a beer. It's not like a fruit bomb. It just has fruit going on, but it's underneath the beer part.
Are there any adjuncts in it? Have they chucked in any fruit or anything like that, or
Nope.
is it just all coming from the hops?
It's all coming from the hops: water, barley, wheat, oats, hops, yeast. And I think that's why it sort of has this kind of more generic-y fruity texture to it, but is very beery, right? Because it's not. They're not making a fruity haze via fruit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fruity
just really good.
haze. That's got to be the name of the beer, Fruity
Hmm?
Haze.
Definitely.
That's got to be the name of the beer, Fruity Haze.
Yeah, sadly, it's called London Haze, but then
Mm.
right on the back it says Fruity Haze for hazy days.
Just say the
That's
word
exactly
haze
the
4
kind of
billion
announcement I'm sure they
times.
wanted.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Just say the word haze 4 billion times just to confuse
Haze.
people on there. It's haze. It's a hazy bit. It's a hazy bit. It's fine.
Yeah.
Before you hop into your beer, Ben,
Yes.
the Honey Isle was bottled in November 2022, so but oh gosh, it's like 9 months now. Yeah, I've had my stash for a while, so I don't know where or when this beer arrived here, but yeah, and going back to the I said it was quite sharp. I think what I'm getting is like quite a strength, sort of like that you'd like associate a sort of like a Belgian blonde ale.
Okay.
Because I completely forgot this was a golden ale,
Mm.
technically. So, just because it's not golden, it's very red. So yeah, it's got that kind of really strong heft, like that you just associate with a high ABV, almost like Delirium or Westmalle or something like that.
Yes. Yeah.
But it's only 5.5%, but it packs a punch.
Nice.
And if that's just from like the fruits being very, very fermented, or just whatever else is going on with this beer, like the oaky French oak barrels and stuff. But yeah, it's a big boy. When I never thought it'd be a big boy, I thought it'd be a calm boy.
Good. I've already supped this White Room Truth. This is a nice calm boy. It's got a lovely nose. Getting a lot of that white wine kind of note and a big sort of grape nose. I'm trying to work out kind of white wine wise what it's kind of pushing across. I can't quite pick out what the white wine is. What that actual flavour of it is. Because again, as with beer, white wine has an incredibly broad range of flavours associated with each of the sort of varietals and stuff. And again, just grape, which sure, grape is kind of grape, but when it's turned into wine, it's very, very different. But it's got a lovely nose. It's quite big. It's quite sort of pungent on the nose as well. You get your nose in the glass, and it's a really big sort of smell. But actually, when you sup it, it's a lot lighter, but not in a, oh no, where's all of that gone? Like that, the flavour is still there. It's just not quite as heavy hitting on the kind of initial sip. And you get a little bit of that mix and a tiny bit of and I'm going to say, it does say citrus in there, but I think it's more like a zesty kind of finish with the citrus. It's more like a peel than it is an actual kind of sort of tang from like a lemon or a lime or something. It's a bit more of a zesty peel that comes in towards the back, but it's very, very smooth. A little bit carbonated, which again pushes that kind of slightly, and it's almost a bit of a sweet kind of white wine flavour. Grapes have got that little bit of sweetness to them as well, so some of that will be poking through. But it's not a incredibly dry white wine. But it's got some of that like touch of, I guess we would say, dankness. I don't know what you would say in a white wine, but I've definitely had white wines which have they just
musty.
dry you. You're musty, yeah, absolutely. But they dry you out really, really quickly, and you just get that kind of, and again, that just like chewy sort of bit to it, where you've supped a white wine and it's kind of just dries you out so much that you're just like. This doesn't. It has that feel of it. It doesn't quite do that, but it is a bit of a dry beer. Maybe that kind of the combination of that is just making that picture in my head of kind of what white wine is happening within this. But it's very nice. It is an excellent kind of summer beer. This is maybe one that Kim would enjoy. so she leans more towards kind of the lighter beers or sours and things like that. That actually, this is probably one which would capture a lot of people. A very good kind of broad beer to sort of draw maybe people who don't drink beers in, actually. And it being only 5.5%, you're not getting any of kind of, you're not getting big hits of any alcohol or anything like that in it. It's not a big punchy kind of fruit flavour of an 8% double IPA or something like that. It's not even that big of a flavour with a nice sort of bitterness at the end of sort of like an IPA or something. It is very, very much a pale ale, just showcasing a couple of different flavours, which works very, very well. So let's enjoy these. Let's enjoy these beers. We'll come back to them at the end of the episode for a final comment on each of them. But we'll launch into games this week. Lucy, you mentioned you'd played a game, so I'm going to come to you first.
Yeah, I've just not been playing games at all recently, and that's because games suck. And there's one, however, there is one genre of game that doesn't suck, and that Lucy needs fed into her veins, and those are
Anime-based
Metroidvanias.
visual novels that have RPG elements.
And that's like a RTS.
Yeah. Tower defense style or tower defense goals, but in an RTS form.
Yeah, those. I love those. But other than those, I do like Metroidvanias.
Yes.
And one that I've had my eye on for a while. Can't remember when it came out. Probably a few years back now. Gosh, I've got to remember what its name. It's got a terrible name. It's called F.I.S.T.
Okay.
Which stands for Forged. Where is it
It's an acronym, isn't it?
F.I.S.T. Yes,
Yeah.
it's an acronym with just capital letters. F.I.S.T. Which stands for Forged in Shadow Torch. I mean, it's not a game. There's not a, you'll forget the subtitle, but you'll remember that the game's called F.I.S.T. And it came onto Game Pass. June 22nd, 2023. It originally came out.
Was it a last year game?
October 2021, at least on Steam. Anyway. It was on Epic Games Store. Maybe I already own it. I don't know. But it came to Game Pass, and I was like, it's my time now. And yeah, it was the first game that I've actually sat down and played like more than like half an hour of. Maybe Peppa Pig just broke me or something, but I just haven't played like anything for like more than 15 minutes. Except Vampire Survivors, I guess. That takes half an hour.
But I can absolutely see why Peppa Pig would just break anyone. Just seeing the show for 30 seconds, and you have to just leave the house, not even just the room, just have to get out and go somewhere
even
else.
on mute, Peppa Pig did things. Yeah, so I don't know how long the game is. That would be a how long to beat search. I'm just
next
googling everything.
Oh, that's fair.
First, you have to.
You've only played it because you want to say that several times, isn't it?
Yes.
Obviously, yeah.
There is actually a game called Just Fist.
Is that like just
in
called?
1996. I don't know what that is.
Don't look.
12 hours. How long to beat says so. That's a nice. What you expect for a Metroidvania. Nice chunk of time, but not too much. So I'll probably play maybe an hour or somewhere between 1 and 2 hours. And yeah, it's got a. I mean, right off the bat, this one's for the furries because you play as a rabbit with a big mecha fist. Don't know what that's about. There is a story, and like the cutscenes and animations and stuff like that. Probably higher budget than you'd expect for something that I think is just like a small indie title. But it just plays very well so far. get your jump and then you double jump right off the bat, and I think it's set in some like kind of post-apocalyptic animal world where there's some bad dudes have taken over this Blade Runner-esque city basically, and you got to save your friend or whatnot. But
Does it
Bad
lean,
dudes.
does
Yeah.
it lean
I
into
remember that
animal like
series.
Yeah.
lean into animal
Yeah.
testing and all of that sort of shit?
I don't know.
No.
Couldn't tell you. But yeah, you're like the leader of the resistance or something, or part of the resistance, or whatever. It's fun. You're fisting people. Combat. The combat's cool. Like you can upgrade your abilities, and it's like all these different combos, like XXY, and X up does an uppercut, and
Nice.
you body slam and grapple and stuff like that. I wish that you could like juggle enemies more, but like once they get knocked down, it's sort of like, I don't know, like a side-scrolling beat 'em up, like sort of like I don't know, maybe Streets of Rage or something. Like when they're down on the floor, you can't really do anything else to them. You have to wait until they stand back up.
They get up again because you can never keep them down.
Yeah, exactly. So that's a bit not as fun. But well done, sir. But I just don't even acknowledge it because it'll just get me off track. But
It's the right thing to do.
yes, but it's the combat is fun so far, and it's like unlocking all these different abilities with you earn credits or like bolts or whatever is the currency in it, and every time you beat an enemy, so and then you cash in a few of those, and you can basically choose off a skill tree which combos that you want to unlock. And yeah, it seems really well made. Like it feels good to play. The platforming is snappy. And it's got like good quality of life features. Like in most Metroidvanias, you can get very lost if you don't know where you're going. It literally puts it on the map. It's like, here's your next objective. Obviously, you can go off the beaten path and find more secrets and stuff like that. But it tells you where to go and where you need to be. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's filling that that insatiable hole in my soul that I need constantly filled with just good Metroidvanias.
Yeah. Do you think it's one that you will kind of want to, with it only being 12 hours long, good length for something to bash out in sort of a week or two? Is this a kind of game that you're going to pick up and play for sort of 10 minutes when you've got that time? Or is it more, I'm just going to sit with it for an hour, hour and a half?
Yeah, because it's that's the thing about these types of games. There's always like carrot on a stick. There's always like, oh, I've got this new ability now. It's like, where can I go with it? It's like it's constantly feeding that addiction of like dopamine of like, oh, now I can go through that kind of door. Oh, now I can triple jump or this and that, and it's just like, yes, I need those hits often in games, and that's why, I don't know, most games are just crap. They don't give me the hit,
Right.
That's fair. Yeah.
So yeah, it's good. It's good. I'm glad. I'm glad I'm finally playing it because, as I say, I've had my eye on it. Any Metroidvania that comes out, I do. I think there's a game on Epic called Grime. That might be an acronym. I don't know, but that's also a Metroidvania, and that's free today. So
this is all we're going to get now,
knows?
isn't it? Metroidvanias with just acronym names,
Yeah.
just random words. Lamp.
Yes.
And you're like, oh yeah,
But
cool,
you're not going to
what's
get better than
lamp?
F.I.S.T.
No, I think Fist is it's very good.
Yeah.
It's a strong
The
start.
sequel should definitely be called Fisting. If it's not, then what are they doing?
Or it's called Fisted, and you've got to save the original Fister or something like that.
You what now?
I don't imagine anyone refers to the rabbit character in the game as the Fister, but they should.
They really should, yeah.
There's probably absolutely a game on Steam that refers to the main character as the
that's
Fister.
like the lowest bar, right?
I don't want to look
Yeah.
up that.
Oh, you'll fall down the rabbit hole of just grime. There we go.
Yeah.
Bring it back round.
Got 2 puns in there.
It leads us on quite nicely to what I've been playing, because I've been playing a lot of Rogue Legacy 2, which it's got Metroidvania elements to it, and it is, I suppose, as like a core gameplay, it is a Metroidvania, but because as with the first Rogue Legacy, it's got the whole you die and it's your heir that continues, and it's in a procedurally generated world. Everything changes, so you're playing through kind of, the idea of a Metroidvania, and you're getting maybe not the same level of progression in terms of the gameplay in things that you unlock. So it's not kind of you're getting a double jump, you're then getting something else, you're then getting something else, you're then getting something else. There's a couple of things which will gate you off from further areas. So you need the ability to basically like bounce higher off of objects, and that allows you to then traverse into the next area and bounce kind of through it. There's another area where you need a lamp because it's underground. Cool. Another area where you need I can't remember what it's called, something wings, and it's all very high and floaty and things like that. And so it locks you off a little bit, but it's not necessarily they are abilities that are blocking you off from going into these places, so it does have that kind of feel to it, but it's not in the sense of, cool, I've now got a double jump, I can go back to this area because I know that there's a hidden something here, or I can go back to this bit because there's a hidden something here. It is more, I've got this thing now, I can just do this area, I can get to that next boss, and I can move forward from it. So it's sat somewhere in the middle of this kind of action, side-scrolling action, almost Metroidvania kind of stylings to it. But it's the loop. It's not necessarily the gameplay, but it is the loop that it is giving, and the satisfaction that even a short run can give you from upgrades and feeling like you're progressing through the game, which is that bit of dopamine for you. So you earn 1,500 gold in a run, and once your character dies, you come back out and you have a mana which you're developing. You've also got a little dock area where you can buy weapon upgrades and various other kinds of upgrades and things like that. And obviously everything costs whatever currencies you're getting. So like ingots for getting items, blood for getting runes, and gold for pretty much everything else. But almost every time you come off a run, you're able to pick something up, and that just allows you to go, cool, I've added 1 to my strength, which means that rather than hitting for 50, I'm hitting for 51 with this character now. So there's a tiny bit of progression. I can't remember whether the first game did, because I've not played it for a very long time, I remember the first game did classes or not, but this game you can pick between different kinds of character types. So you've got your standard warrior who goes around with a sword. They can attack in various... They can move and attack. You've got a barbarian who hits harder but stands still to attack. So harder to get out the way of enemies. Got a little bit more health and things like that. There's a mage character. There's an archer character. And there's loads of different character archetypes to kind of unlock through this. But the game also presents you with going, cool, here's a mage, but actually I've come across a weapon and I can use it. I can pick it up or not if I want to, and it's a sword. So I'm now a mage running around with a sword. So there's a little bit of variation that you can go through with your runs as well. And
I don't recall the first game having classes.
No,
just
I
the
don't.
Hereditary stuff.
But only in the sense of like you would inherit certain traits that made like using a wand or a sword better. Like it kind of your whatever, like the genetic lottery that it did kind of
Yeah,
made it so like that build would be better, I think.
Yeah, this one
Yeah.
doesn't have any like inheritance of abilities.
Oh, it doesn't.
No, it's a bit more open. So you're like, cool. I've played as I can't. I think it's called a warrior. It might be called a knight, the guy with the sword. I've played as that character, and I've accrued experience. And at the end of a run, that experience basically goes at 5,000 experience. That gets me to rank 1. At 10,000, 12,000, that gets me to rank 2. And what that does is it increases a stat, basically, for characters. So for the knight, it's like, cool, I can carry more stuff. For the Valkyrie, who has I can't remember what it's called. It's like a big spear. But basically, the Valkyrie can kind of attack up and down as well as moving around and stuff like that. They might unlock something else the more that you rank these specific kind of characters up. But that seems to carry through across all of the runs. So everything in this game is about progression. It's all about, cool, you've done this. Here's some progression. Oh, brilliant, you've done this. Here's some progression. Cool, you fought a boss. Here's some progression. That kind of feeling of going, oh, only ran around for 15 minutes. Cool. Let's just go again. Let's just see if we can kind of get to the same point. Even though when you go into the new run and it's procedurally generated, it is still the castle is the first area. It's just all of the rooms are in slightly different locations now. They're all connected differently. You might not get the same amount of specific rooms as you did in the previous run. That then moves on to kind of this like I don't know what they call it, but then the next area and so on and so forth, kind of moving through these different things. It's not that you're again, the procedural generation is just the layout of area 1. You still get to move on to area 2, but the layout will be different to the previous character that you played. And everything else carries through with you. There is, again, I think, again, with the first game, you could lock in a map, basically, and you can do that again on this one. You basically have to pay 20% of the gold that you collect through the level, and it will keep the map. So basically, when you're at a point where you've played the game so much that you're kind of towards the end boss, you're like, I don't want to fuck around looking for everything again.
Yeah.
I just want to be able to go straight to that boss with this badass character that I've upgraded so much and progressed through to be able to kind of get to that point that you can kind of just be able... You could just do that. You're not interested in the gold at that point. You just want to be able to get back to the same point that you kind of came at. And it's got some nice quality of life.
Full mechanic.
Yeah. And again, things that cost gold... every area has like a teleporter. So you've got a teleporter at the start of the area, and there's a teleporter in the boss room, or the room just before the boss. There's teleporters in other rooms as well. And then at the start of each area. So actually, if I go and discovered the second area, and there is the teleporter there, a character appeared after I discovered her and had got to a certain point through the game, who can unlock them. So for 1,500 gold, she's like, I can link the teleporters. And I'm like, cool, link these teleporters. So in the next run, I could instantly jump on that and skip straight to stage area number 2. And I didn't have to run through the castle again, even though I could have, and I'd have defeated enemies, I'd have got experience, I'd have got gold, I'd have got all of the currencies that kind of run through. I'd have upgraded my character on that run as well, because there's small upgrades kind of as you go through, and relics and things like that. A little bit of balancing in terms of saying, I've paid some, I think it's called resolve, to get this relic, and that's taken my health down a little bit, but I do a little bit of extra damage, or my damage applies burn to characters instead. And there's loads of these different relics. Almost on every run, I'm finding ones that I haven't uncovered yet. So it just comes up with question marks as the sort of the description until you kind of unlock it. And traits, characters have specific traits, but again, it's not tied to like classes. So you can get like giants. Some of them have giganticism, I suppose, where they are much bigger. Opposite that, you get characters which can be smaller, but a lot of those traits are very, very varied and don't seem to do a huge amount, which is fine. One of the characters just emitted a stream of color, like a Tron motorcycle
Yeah.
behind them, just a light and all of the enemies did that as well. I'm like, oh, this looks fun. Until you get into the room that fires fireballs at you, and they all have a trail of color after them, and you just can't see where any of the platforms are anymore. It's just like this has actually made it much more difficult. Something that looked fun in the first few rooms, just really hard now.
So just to clarify, there were classes in Rogue Legacy 1. It was just that you picked between one of 3 heirs, and they would be randomized classes or whatever.
Right.
And their like genetic stuff was based on that what was around that class.
Right. Okay.
So you never really had a choice of like locking in a class or developing it, because if once you died, you might not get that class again because it was based on the heirs that came out.
Yeah, this is similar. So you get 3 heirs. There is an ability or something that you can unlock in the kind of the manor in the castle that you're building to be able to re-roll your heirs, which I haven't unlocked yet because I'm just like, cool. I'm still so early. I mean, I say I'm early on. I played quite a lot of it. I don't know. I don't know without going on. I don't even know if the PlayStation app would tell me how long I've been playing it. But it was. It's only come out this month or last month, end of June, and it's free with the PlayStation Plus Extra tier.
Right.
So sort of as soon as it dropped, I'm like, yeah, I enjoyed the first game a little bit. I didn't get too through it. I'll try this, and just really.
You're not the first
it, so.
person to say it felt really good to play. Like when it first came out, the first like wave of people seemed to really, really dig it.
Yeah, it's
Back when I
feels
listened
like,
to podcasts still.
I know, yeah, like I've just given up. You know,
I don't even know where my time goes, you know?
Yeah.
neither do I. Like,
I think it's in the real world, and that's frightening.
you look at the clock and it's just like, hold on. It's like when I go to the gym. It's like I'm there for 3 hours, but it's like I've done like an hour of working out. Where did the other 2 go? I don't understand. Where did they go? What did I do?
I don't know. I don't know whether it's a COVID times holdover that we kind of, again with like things like working from home and with all of us being kind of more working from home / studenty kind of over the last 10-year, 15-year period. Whether we just kind of value our time in a way where you're like, if I'm going to go somewhere, I'm going to go there for a while. And so actually the whole day is just gone. And you're like, cool, fine. I've done one thing today. I'm absolutely happy with that. Whereas, before it's like, I've got to do these like 400 things today. I've got to go to here and I've got to do this and I've got to go there and I've got to do this and I've got to do that. And just bouncing around the place and staying up till, then going out for an evening into the night and getting back at like 4 a.m, then getting up at 10 and being like, cool, let's do it all over again. Whereas now it's just like, send some emails. I'm happy.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yeah.
I don't need to do anything else today.
I think you're right. Because it's like, I don't know how I did all the things I used to do and go to work and commute in like a day. It's like, even just tidying now, it's like, okay, that's a day I do that and nothing else. Or, yeah, it's just like, okay, if you get 2 tasks done in a day, it's like, oh, put my feet up now, worked.
Fucking legend.
That's good. That's good. It's very good.
Gym and shopping. Wow.
Just for everybody, the PlayStation app does not tell you how long you've been playing a game for. So that sucks. But
Jim Ryan saw it out. So that's Rogue Legacy 2.
Yeah, that's Rogue Legacy 2. Lucy, you and I were talking about how we didn't really like the art style of the first game. This kind of continues very much. It's that very cartoony kind of look. It's fine. I'm not put off by it, but it's not something that has jumped out to me as being, excellent, really. Yeah. It's not, again, it's kind of not off-putting, but It's just
Mhm.
this is what it looks like. Fine.
It is game.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, movement and combat and things like that are quite fluid and enjoyable. But I can see there's a couple of classes which, in terms of how I play, are a little bit frustrating, like the archer and stuff like that. So I tend to sort of shy away from those characters a little bit, which I think is fine. I don't think the game will penalise me that much from not choosing specific kind of classes to run through the game as. So it seems quite balanced. It seems quite open as well, quite inviting to a kind of a lower skill level as well. It seemed like the start was quite hard. Like the first sort of 30 minutes was quite difficult, and I probably ran through 2 or 3 characters in the first sort of 30 minutes. But now I'm doing a run with one character which is like 30 minutes long, and only dying then through sheer stupidity of being like, cool, I can jump. No, I can't jump over that bollocks. So it's the skill level, whilst it kind of seemed high at the start, I don't think it actually is. It's just getting used to that kind of gameplay again,
Right.
and learning the language of the game ultimately, which is fairly easy to kind of pick up. So yeah, nice accessible game, which is a lot of fun to play. So I will continue playing it, basically. It's probably going to be the PlayStation game I play for a little while. I don't think there's anything else coming out on a PlayStation 4 which is really kind of going to tickle me. So and it's, and again, very child friendly. The aesthetic and all of that sort of stuff, I can put it on whilst the kids are kind of in the lounge as well, doing other sort of stuff. So it's been that kind of game where I can turn it on at 6 a.m. because I've been dragged downstairs because everyone wants to get up.
Or the TV's not working.
Yeah. Well, when they can, when they all want to get up, and then Evelyn just sit on a tablet, Indy will crawl around playing with the various toys that she's got, making lots of noise. And I can just be like, cool, I'm not woken up yet. I'm going to just put some Rogue Legacy 2 on and just sit back and play this and ignore you both.
That sounds great.
Yeah. But that's all I played. That's everything. I came last week with a mountain of games and demos and things like that. But yeah, I only found a little bit of time for Rogue Legacy. But I think it's so good that it's just occupied my time, basically.
That's great.
So yeah. Adel, we'll come to you. Is there anything you want to discuss this week? Anything you wanted to bring to the table?
No, I installed a demo on a Steam Deck.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I don't remember which one. I have to wait for it to install or open
there
it
we
up.
go.
You know, it's like writing, right? They say like the first step when you've got writer's block is just like opening up the notebook, staring at it, and then like the next step is like just write a word, any word. I'm not quite there yet in gaming these days, but I have installed a game.
Okay.
So it turns out this like not sleeping through the night more than once all the way through since October was a thing that was only sustainable when I woke up and took amphetamines.
That'll help.
And now that I'm not doing that, I'm real tired and want to do way less in the world, and I still have a busy life. So games just like I don't know where the time could possibly be.
But it's like gaming is sacrificial, right? It's entertainment at the end of the day. Yes, for a long time, and we built up a friendship around gaming and with other people, and even getting to play games together and those sorts of things. It is still an entertainment product. It is still a sort of almost a sacrificial kind of time sink in your life that isn't going to pull away from those relationships that you've made around that, or isn't going to change anything in that sort of sense. But it is a thing that is very easy to be able to dip in and out of, as you've experienced yourself, with being kind of like, doing the PhD and kind of pulling away from it a little bit and then coming back into it and now pulling away again and stuff. And Lucy, you and I have had times where we've kind of just gone, I just haven't got time for this.
This year is quite extreme though in my compared to how many games I used to play. I was looking, I was like, I think I've completed like 10 games, and like a lot of them are like small indie titles. And it's
Sure.
just like we're past halfway through the year. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I haven't. I've played so few games in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
Mm.
God, I'm gonna have to play at least 9 more games in order for me to
I
have a
know
top
that.
10 list.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, you know what? I just may not have anything. I
That's
may
fine.
have like a top three, and they're
Yeah.
just like the like an ideal 2018, 19 kind of circa times where it's just like I played these games.
Yeah,
Did I
yeah.
like them? Sure.
I mean,
No,
I
I'm
liked
not,
them in the
on the
sense
list.
that they were the games I played, and I
Yeah.
like playing games sometimes.
Yeah.
But were they exceptional? One of them might have been. I don't remember. It was in January.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It may
yeah.
well just be that this year.
Absolutely, we just a tanked up top 5, tanked up top 3.
Mhm.
You know, whatever we feel like, kind of at the end of the year.
Mhm.
It's split it into 2 episodes of being like, here are all of the notable games we wish to talk about, and then here is just the 3 best ones that we've managed to play. Yeah.
The three I stuck with to completion.
Yeah. 5-hour runtime, but you know it's fine. I
Yeah,
still
yeah.
completed it, so.
Like Hi-Fi Rush, I think that would be very high on my list this year, but I just haven't gone back to it.
Really?
Yeah, I haven't touched it since it like originally came out, and what was that, January? So, and I was really enjoying that game, so it may be worth just restarting, or because I think
That's on Game Pass, is it?
yeah, and I don't suppose it will go anywhere because it's like a first-party title.
Yes.
But yeah, I need to get back to that. That's the one that I will rue the most, probably. If I don't get back to it.
Did you finish Pentiment?
Yes,
Okay.
that was last year as well. Yeah.
Was
That
it
was
last?
really
Was
good.
that last year?
Yeah, that was like October
Okay.
last year.
Absurd. Okay. Cool.
That was in my top 10 list.
I mean, so Pentiment's on my list. It's just I know that that's definitely a game like M would like, and we've not been able to finish. Case of the Golden Idol.
Yes.
There's just no.
Yeah.
We just forget about it when we're like. To be honest, it's kind of nice watching TV on a couch when you want downtime and not having to push buttons.
Sure.
I think that one though, Pentiment, is one that you could play solo and then play
and then
again,
still
and it would just be completely different anyway. I think the like mystery being tied up at the end is whilst it's interesting, it's not
The gameplay's the thing that is the draw.
Yeah, like all the different dialogue choices and stuff like that. Because you can, I mean, it would take many different playthroughs to see everything. So you could have a completely different playthrough solo as compared to with somebody else. But
oh well, maybe I'll do that because I was like as soon as it was announced, I was really excited about it. Like when there was like a sneak preview or something. Can't remember what it was.
Yeah, I think
the
you'd really
initial
enjoy
hype
it.
cycle.
What was the game, Adol, that you played last year, or maybe even the year before, which was kind of a you know you make lots of choices through it. It was about a character kind of
the
living
Life
through.
and Times of Sir Bronte.
Yes.
Or the Death and Life of Sir Bronte.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. Something
Sir
like
Bronte,
that.
the game.
Yeah. That
Sir
one.
Bronte, the game. The life and suffering of Sir Bronte.
Okay. You know, similar kind of thing where actually every playthrough will be just that, unless you make exactly the same choices, which you're not going to do if you're playing through the game again, likely. It just feels like it has that web to it, doesn't it? That kind of tree where you're like, here's the choice, cool. It actually does branch off, and it's not just choice and brings you back to the same road that you've just kind of like rooted around something on. That it actually does pull away and make a very and vastly different kind of story to tell.
Good thing about, I mean, it's a good and bad thing because I never like replay games, like choice-driven games, because it's just like I feel like, those are my decisions. That's what I'm sticking by. That's what I like. But
yeah,
it's nice that well, before Reddit imploded, Reddit existed, and you could just read up about the other threads. So that's what it's called.
But
Just knowing
that's
that
your
there's so many
playthrough,
different
right?
things. Yeah,
That's
there's
your
so
playthrough.
many
It doesn't
different
need to.
ones.
You don't need another playthrough necessarily.
that's
You know,
right.
it's kind of
Yeah.
like, cool. This is the way I have chosen to
Mm-hmm.
interpret these characters, and the choices that I think they should make, and how that has played out.
Mm-hmm.
It's very difficult, and I think we've talked about it before. With choice-based games, do you make a choice that you would make, or do you make a choice that you feel that the character they have presented in front of you would make? And there's a couple of different
Or-
ways to kind of play those sorts of.
If it's Detroit Become Human, make the choice where you hope everyone dies, because I can't stand that game. That's the only game to
I
ever
love how
offend me.
much that game is stuck in your brain.
Yeah.
It's a
I-
terrible, terrible thing.
I hate it. It's the only game that has offended me, and that I cannot understand why other people like. It's like usually it's like, oh yeah, I don't like this game, but you like it. That's cool. I see that. Detroit Become Human. No, nobody should like that game. It is trash.
Does it?
I wish I could erase my memory of that game.
Quantic Dream are a fucking conundrum. Like
They really are.
they're making a Star Wars game,
Yeah, and it
and
could
it's
be
like,
good.
what
be
the
good.
fuck is this going to be? Like, you're looking at their previous games, is it going to be very, very similar? Is it just going to be a Jedi walking around the council chambers, just asking people?
The thing
shit,
is that
making
Disney will
choices,
tell
like,
them.
just-
Disney will tell them no. They will tell them no.
Mm.
Whereas with Detroit Become Human, nobody told them no.
They just did
Do
what they
not
like.
do
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Yeah. So Star Wars will probably be fine, if not good.
It's just Anakin walking around going, Padme, Padme, Padme. That's
I mean,
it.
that would
It's just
be
that game.
okay, to be honest. Better
Just walking
than,
around a
better
shopping
than
centre.
I'm assuming.
Not even set in the Star Wars universe, just in like a Leeds shopping centre, just
God.
dressed up in like cosplay, just Padme. That's it. That's all that game is.
Still way better than Detroit Become Human. Still way better.
What was the other one with Elliot Page in?
Oh,
Ellen Page.
Yes,
Elliot Page now.
Elliot Page now. Yeah.
Oh, she changed it.
They,
Okay.
He actually-
Well, yes. I'm so behind.
yeah.
I was like, who's Elliot Page? Who's that familiar?
Beyond Two Souls.
Beyond Two Souls. Yeah.
I see. I didn't like that one. I think the only one
You
I've
did or didn't?
No, I didn't. The only
I
one I
hated
kind of
I didn't
thought
like that
was
one either.
okay with Heavy
It was
Rain
Heavy Rain,
was
yeah.
all right.
It was
Like,
of
yeah,
a
this
time,
is cool.
wasn't it?
It was of its time, and then we got things like Until Dawn, and you're like, cool. This is where this kind of game should go. Choices and beheadings, brilliant. That's what we want.
Yeah.
Gosh, I was about to say, Elliot Page, he looks so young, but yeah, he's only 36.
Yeah, he is.
Oh my God.
Yeah, this young.
Yeah. It just feels like he's been around for ages, ain't it? So,
Mm.
but yeah, well, I guess they got
Yeah, I
this
think,
start early on, so.
Like Juno was their breakout role, right? And it was they were actually high school aged, unlike most actors,
Right.
right?
Yeah, yeah. Unlike like Greece, where it's a bunch of 40-year-olds playing teenagers or something.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. Oh, wow, they've got a six-pack. Jesus. I'm down a rabbit
You've gone down the rabbit hole. Perfect.
can see that.
Brilliant. I imagine that's a good place for us to round back out on our beers and finish up the episode on. Whilst you're looking at, various half-naked people on the internet, Lucy, would you like us to loop back around to our beers first, or should we come to you?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah,
Should-
Adel, we'll jump back onto the Fourpure. It's such a hard name to say.
Fourpure, yeah. For some, it doesn't look like it is, but it is.
Fourpure.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I stupidly tried to read the whole label, which you missed because you were fixing a TV. And so it's like the Fourpure Bermondsey London Hales. Hales? No, Fruity Haze. Ah, God damn it. And then I proceeded to me, I think, just to catch you up, so you don't actually have to end the episode. Instead of saying water, barley, wheat, oats, I said warley.
Brilliant. Okay.
Yeah. It's good. The that zestiness I was talking about. So the palate really, by taking small sips, that maltiness is kind of receded, and it's let the citrusy zest kind of pull forward. And I mean, let's recall like the first 200 episodes of this podcast. It now feels much more grapefruity because it's got that citrus and that tropical.
Yep.
So that like low medium level of bitterness hasn't faded because the maltiness is pulled back, and that bit of tart citrus like peak just made that bitterness feel more citrusy as my palate has not acclimatized as much to it as the other things. So it's actually a really good, cool, interesting way for the taste to finish.
Okay.
Like it makes it a little more peppy and zesty, so then if you wanted another one, you'd be like, yeah, sure. Even though it started kind of with this like lingering sort of more malt forward start, you're like, oh, this is the thing I want to sip. Now this is like it's hot. I just want to watch the sun rise and set, or whatever they said in the flavor text. The sun retreating beyond the concrete horizon. This isn't London fog, it's London haze. Yeah, see, look at me.
Yeah.
I can be a shill.
Stare at the sun through the smog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I did the other day. That day being yesterday.
It's like this.
Yeah, actually, the weather was really great. It was like a bit rainy in the day, but by yesterday evening, it was pretty great in London.
Nice.
So.
Good.
Very nice.
This beer then, Summer Together, it's really nice. It's a very good beer. It does, as I was saying, I think at the start, it's maybe quite. It's a bit lighter at 5.5%. It's a bit lighter in its kind of flavour as well, and I think it's got a very broad appeal, but the flavours stick around kind of through the beer. So the start is very similar to the end of the beer as well. The white winey kind of slightly vinous quality to it takes over a little bit more, so you lose that bit of sort of citrus zest that I was getting. It kind of gets that little bit more musty kind of towards the end as well, so it turns slightly more into a beer than this more amalgamous flavor kind of drink that you kind of have when you start to sip it, but you're still getting the same level of that kind of the flavor from the start towards the end. It just kind of, as I say, it's more of that kind of the white wine and the grape that maybe has taken over a little bit. But if you were sharing this with someone, the beer is called Summer Together, it makes sense that you would sit there with kind of half a glass each and sip it. That you wouldn't experience kind of that end to it, sat for an hour drinking kind of the beer. It's one that you'd probably finish within about 15 minutes if you were sharing it with someone. So it would remain quite light, giving you those kind of lovely flavours that it presents at the start. So yeah, very, very nice. I think this is one that when I'm back in the shop picking up a couple of beers, I'll grab this, definitely. So Lucy, Crossover Blendery.
Oh, my golden ale that is definitely not golden. Yeah, still nice, still supping on it. Yeah, just another banger from them.
Good.
I mean, if you're looking for, mixed firm beers in this place called the UK, I'd probably go with Crossover Blendery, and then maybe Mills Brewing, who are doing the good stuff, and Little Earth Project. Yeah, it's just. I mean, I'm trying fruits and berries that I've never even heard of, so and getting my 5 a day here.
Fair.
Yeah.
Get it through beer.
Really
it makes
good.
sense.
Yeah.
Don't actually eat fruit. Just enjoy it through sours and fruited beers and things.
Fruit's expensive. I bought strawberries and like £3 for a punnet.
It's because Wimbledon's on, mate. Put the price up.
You know, you
course.
say that as a joke,
Should've
and I'm
known.
like, I don't know if that's a joke.
It's probably
Well,
true. Probably true.
oh dear, the world is broken. As we said at the start, it is on fire. It has been for a long time. But just enjoy yourselves, everybody. Drink a beer, play a game. Just get your kicks where you absolutely can. Legal kicks, obviously. Yes, and follow us to look at all of the lovely things that we are doing on the socials at Tanked Up Cast. Go to outoflives.net as well to look at articles and look at the video version of this if you wish to, and see that Lucy's gold nail was not a gold nail in colour, at least, and see the beers that we have been drinking. I'm at Nova_47. Lucy is
Looking at weird celebrity news. Juicy Loose 9.
Adel is
At the Omniarch.
and I think that's everywhere we exist. Thank you for joining us this week. We've been Tanked Up. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.
Ciao.
www.outoflives.net